correct me if I pronounce this word, is differentiation. Does that correctly
Yeah, you said
describe?
it
All
right.
right,
Yeah, yeah,
cool.
yeah. Differentiation. Yeah, so that's like a big term, we hear in education. Like in every course that you'll take, they talk about differentiation for like all teachers. And that word just means to be able to teach the curriculum and content to various learners to fit
Yeah.
their needs. And so, you have a classroom full of 20 some kids, you have some ESOL kids, some gifted kids, some students who, are academically, struggling a little bit. You have all these ranges of learners, and differentiation just means that the teacher adjusts the content to fit their learning style to make sure that they can be successful at the stage that they're at.
Yeah.
Um,
And that
and that,
sounds that
yeah, go ahead.
that sounds wonderful, right? In theory.
Yeah,
But
right.
when you have multiple kids that are not ready for school and you're asking them to
Mhm.
meet these criteria, it creates a significant challenge and roadblock for teachers if I'm,
Yeah.
thinking through this right. And not only that, but you guys are also having to do this not for one, not for 10, not for 20, but upwards of 30 students. You're having to gauge their performance level,
Yep.
and you're having to individualize each one of your generalized teachings to each one of these students.
Yeah.
And that, I can't,
Sounds intense, right?
that is very intense. And that
I
is,
know. I think people don't realize, I think people think that teachers just go in, they have a script, they read the script, they teach it, and then that's it. There's so much behind the scenes work that requires us to do that differentiation piece. And like, teachers don't have enough time in the day to do that because we're with our class, from the beginning of the day. I think the only break we have is like lunchtime if you have duty free lunch. And then our planning time when they're at specials, we usually have like team meetings during that time or professional development during that time. So the only time teachers have to sit and think about their class makeup and make those lessons geared for those specific groups is going to be after school or before school or on your weekends. And so the time and prep to do all of that differentiation, as good as it sounds, it's just a lot of extra time and preparation that you don't really see during a school day. It's behind the scenes work. um, and it's hard. It's definitely hard because you have high flyers in your room, and then the kids who struggle a little bit more, who need a little bit more support, and so you're trying to juggle different groups of kids as well as stay on the same pacing for the curriculum so you're not behind.
yeah, I mean, what happens when you guys kind of miss a kid? What happens if you can't meet a kid's expectations or meet them where they're at, like by the end of the
Yeah.
school year?
It happens. So that's where those learning gaps I think I mentioned to you before happens. Unfortunately, we have these gaps, and so kids might go to like first grade, second grade, and they might be half a grade level to a grade level behind because they were performing, a little bit lower than the norm in their classroom, and they were requiring more supports that by the time, the end of kindergarten reached, they weren't quite where they needed to be.